Exactly 75 years ago to the day, Soviet soldiers liberated Auschwitz. There, they discovered approximately 7,000 men, women, and children, the handful of survivors out of millions who were forced through the infamous gates of Auschwitz, a remnant of a people who barely escaped extinction.
Since 2005, the Day of Liberation is also the International Holocaust Remembrance Day. Today is the second time we gathered in this hall for our unique Hague-based commemoration, focused on the impact of the Holocaust and the development of international law.
Excellencies, ambassadors, judges, rabbis, representatives of governmental and non-governmental organizations, representatives of courts and universities, scholars, students, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Shmuel Katzman. On behalf of CHAJ, the Cultural and Educational Foundation of the Jewish Community in The Hague, welcome.
My name is Abigail Frisch Ben Abraham, the legal advisor of the Israeli Embassy in The Hague. Shalom. Together we will walk you through the various items of today's program.
We're very grateful to the Municipality of The Hague, who adopted the motto of being the city of peace and justice, and very appropriately agreed to co-host tonight's event. It's my honor to invite the former Minister of Interior, Deputy Prime Minister, currently Mayor of the City of The Hague, the very Honorable Johan Remkes, to welcome the participants.
Mr. President, Madam President, ambassadors, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this International Holocaust Remembrance Day, where we are grateful to be in the building of the Hague Academy at the Peace Palace today, both an appropriate and a symbolic location, because this building is a symbol for a peaceful world governed by the rule of law. It was precisely the opposite circumstances that enabled the Holocaust to take place. However you look at it, that was a time when violence, injustice, and inhumanity seemed to have taken control. With the end of the Second World War, a new framework for international cooperation began to be built, intended to preserve the peace and prevent crimes against humanity. And although the United Nations may not be perfect, it is with gratitude that we will be celebrating the 75th anniversary later this year. Something that our city as International City of Peace and Justice and a United Nations city will certainly be doing. By the end of the war, The Hague itself had been ravaged. Apart from the material destruction, above all, there had been a terrible loss of life. More than 15,000 people living in our city did not survive the period of 1940 to 1945. Roughly 12,000 of them were Jewish. Sinti and Roma people were also deported from The Hague. Via the transit camps in Vught and Westerbork, the Jewish and Sinti and Roma citizens of The Hague disappeared into the death camps in Nazi-occupied Poland. That the trains in which they were deported were scheduled to halt briefly at Zuidbroek station, not far from the German border, is something that still affects me personally, because I was born in Zuidbroek. It was one of the last Dutch towns the deportees would see, if they were able to see anything at all. During the Second World War, The Hague was at the center of the abomination. The Reich Commissioner, Dr. Seyss-Inquart, not only lived here, but the most important administrative bodies of the occupying forces were also established here. From The Hague, the 4B4 department of the Sicherheitspolizei und SD, the state security police, organized the deportation of all Jews in the Netherlands. There were people who said, I refuse to be part of this, including in The Hague. People like policeman Pieter Magiel Biever. Right from the start, when the first major raids took place to round up Jews living in this city, he refused to cooperate. Biever survived the war, but many others died for standing up for their persecuted fellow citizens or their resistance. But as noted, the link between this Remembrance Day and The Hague is not only a historical one, but still exists today. As city of peace and justice, The Hague has become a center of international criminal law. Although there is nothing comparable to the unparalleled horror of the Holocaust, there is also much we can learn from it. And one of those lessons is that those who perpetrate crimes such as genocide and the violation of human rights must never go unpunished. At the same time, the story of the mass murder of European Jews must continue to be told, even after the last war survivor has passed away. Not least out of respect for the millions of victims, but also for the future. Because, contrary to some people say, we can learn from history. Where racism can lead us, for example, we can pinpoint the moments when it might have been possible to intervene, when the catastrophe could have been averted. These are the things we can learn from and which we can apply today and tomorrow. The philosopher John Dewey also underlined the importance of good education for the functioning of democracy. It is in that light that we should view the recent visit made by the students of the Johan de Witt College in The Hague to Auschwitz-Birkenau together with Deputy Bert van Alphen. Because it is at school that young people learn to think independently and critically. Safeguarding a peaceful and positive future begins by educating a new generation of active citizens. Or as Maria Montessori once put it, averting war is the work of politicians. Establishing peace is the work of educators. Let us continue to work on that together. I wish you a fine and honorable commemoration. Thank you very much.